Good morning and welcome to Today in LA. I'm Mike Amos and he's Bill Rice Jr. And welcome to a Monday of what is one of my favorite days of the year, and that's the start of college football.
I mean, August starts it up.
That's right. August 1st is when most everybody starts. The only people I know that might have got a little jump is Miami and Florida, and then Jacksonville State, not Jacksonville State, but Sanford University plays Youngstown State.
In Montgomery.
So they're the only ones I know that are going to get the jump on everybody else to start college football. But
well, tell everybody what you just told me about being out on that football practice field the other day.
It was, I was out there yesterday, and it is going to be one of the most beautiful fields in college football, no question about it. Gorgeous. But it was 125 degrees out there on that field. And that's before they put fill it up with all the tiny
pellets.
And we were talking, and it's got to be the hottest place in the world right now to be down on that field. And this was mid-afternoon.
It's the same for everybody in the South, or maybe in all of America. So you know, the players might say, "Oh gosh, I wish I was at Penn State or Michigan," but heck, it's probably just as hot up there.
Oh yeah, no question about it. And on this turf, it's going to be hot. And just ask these baseball players that came in here and practice or play games this summer, before they burned up. They said they felt like the shoes, they would have to take the shoes off, but if they took the shoes off, their feet would burn up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, hey, guess what I watched last night?
What is that?
On the ESPN Classic. The 1979 Sugar Bowl, Alabama versus Penn State, 14-7, Barry Krause, goal line stand. But I haven't watched that game in 30 or 40 years. And there were key plays in there we forget. Like after the goal line stand, Penn State held Alabama until into the 5. Alabama had to punt. The snap almost bounced to the punter, and he shanked the punt. It went out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Penn State was getting ready to have the ball at the Alabama 30-yard line, but Penn State had 12 players on the field.
Oh, gosh.
And Alabama got a first down.
Oh, gosh.
So, I mean, I'd forgotten all about that.
That's exactly right. You're on Today in LA. Good morning.
Hey, morning.
Where are you calling from, sir?
Grayton Beach, Florida.
Home of is that Yuppieville, USA, or what?
It's home of.
Why do y'all think y'all alive? Why do y'all turn up your nose at all these guys?
It's our South Beach.
Coming in there, yeah, you're right.
A lot of people ride bicycles down here, and a lot of people rent golf carts. I need to get in the golf cart.
I tell you what, it's a lot cheaper to ride a bicycle, isn't it?
When did that become a thing that everybody started getting golf carts for their own neighborhood use?
I don't know. You got all these old geezers down here at the beach and have no business on bicycles, like they're trying to relive their youth or something.
Yeah, and I'm one of the worst about it, but let me tell you, I was riding back from a little function this weekend, and I saw 3 different golf carts, and none of them have lights on them, and somebody's going to get hurt. And they were coming down George Wallace.
And sometimes you see young children that are driving them, and you think, they're not old, and they're out there in the road where cars can hit them. Yeah, I worry about that too.
I recommend that it be against the law, and I would be the first they put in jail to drive one of them without lights, and it should be a law that tells you not to drive them after dark, unless you had lights.
I tell you what freaks you out down here is they have these electric bikes, and you have no clue they're electric bikes, and you'll be on the road, and next thing you know, there'll be a bike, like literally on your bumper.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
they can go like 20 or 20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And they can fly. It's amazing, the technology on bikes now.
Well, I think we got a few at Troy. I want to say those orange bikes are motorized. I think you see them all over town. And
Alabama's 5-star linebacker, Noah, the kid out of Baltimore who was in the transfer portal, and Saban got him out of the transfer portal. This guy was a 5-star outside linebacker, defensive end, is back in the transfer portal, and apparently he's officially gone from the University of Alabama because he has not been attending.
I heard he didn't even go to class this summer.
Yeah, so that's going to hurt Alabama definitely depth-wise at outside linebacker, and he's supposedly having a great spring for Alabama. So
don't you think
that's not going to help.
Don't you think the thing that hurt Alabama last year more than anything was the lack of a great pass rush, and he was supposed to really be maybe one of the answers. So he's gone.
Yeah, with Terrell Lewis and then Christian Miller, not playing in the national championship game, and it's definitely one of those type things. They were expecting a lot out of this kid. Of course, 5-star prospects, a guy that's supposed to play right away. So
I think he was considered the number 6 or 7 prospect in the whole country when he came out of high school. Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations to Alabama defensive tackle. Of course, he was a third-round pick in the NFL draft. Quentin Williams signed his contract, and it's $32 million guaranteed.
Oh, boy. Guaranteed.
Hey, did you see what the holdup on that was? I read why there was a delay in him signing the contract, and it makes sense. You think, well, there shouldn't be a delay because all these players, their salary is already baked in. I mean, there's no question of what they're going to make. But what it turned out to be was the tax situation if you are a resident of New Jersey, where he's getting ready to be, that's where the Jets play, or Alabama. And then when you get your signing bonus, well, the state tax in New Jersey is 10.75%. The state tax in Alabama is 5%. So he wanted all of that bonus money he was going to get to come to him immediately, so he only had to pay 5%. And they wanted to delay it and pay it off over time when he was a resident of New Jersey, and that would have been 11%. So he really probably saved himself $1 million by on the tax situation.
Is that why this kid left? You think?
No, that's why Quentin Williams.
Oh, Quentin Williams, yeah.
Delayed. He didn't report for camp his first day, and that was what he was trying to get cleared up on his contract, so he could get more of the money up front. So he only had to pay the Alabama 5% tax. Think about that. He's paying 37% federal tax. The state of New Jersey, he has to pay 11% tax.
Amazing?
That's 48% of his money right there. His agent probably takes 5%.
Yeah, I bet he's wondering when they're going to stop taking it.
He's really bonded with Steve McClendon. He mentions, I was just talking to former Carroll Ozark and Troy standout Jets nose tackle Steve McClendon today. It's Steve's 11th year, and it's like my first day, so I was talking to him about a lot of different things that's going on as far as just getting ready for the upcoming season. So that's good to know that McClendon out of Troy is taking Quentin Williams under his wing, 2 Alabama guys.
That's great. Of course, our guy at Ozark, we're awfully proud of him.
11 seasons.
You reckon what kind of money he makes, Mike? He's a starting nose tackle. How much
11
money?
years.
He doesn't make any kind of Quentin Williams money.
Oh, I know that. I just wondered what he does make, though. I bet he makes $10 million, don't you think?
I think he makes around $6 or $7 million.
Pretty good for a young country boy out of Ozark. You know, hey, I bet all those guys, the great one that he wished that he made that kind of money when he played.
Golly.
Wilbur Jackson.
Yeah. C.J. Mosley plays with Quentin Williams at the Jets, and he makes how much? He makes about $17 million a year.
$85 million, yeah.
Out of Theodore, Alabama.
So Will Matthews' cousin finished 5th in the Senior British Open and won $75,000.
Did he? Well, that is great.
I watched him and was pulling for him, and there's a while there. It looks like he might finish 3rd or really compete for the championship until Longer started blowing everybody away.
I think Brooks Koepka is going to become the what do you call him? Not queen, but the king of all athletes.
The next phenom.
The next phenom, yeah.
But
all he did was just flex his muscle chest. Did you see him? Hey, look, this is an ugly shirt. Anybody that thinks that's a good-looking shirt has got a white band, but all of it is to make his triceps look bigger.
You think some of those golfers are using steroids?
Oh no, they would be kicked out if they did.
I definitely think some of them have before. There's no doubt.
But they would be knocked out if they did. Wouldn't you think?
I don't think they tested for steroids back in the day. I think maybe they do
didn't.
now.
Yeah.
Who was the first big strong guy?
Well, Tiger Woods went from a string bean to looking like an NFL free safety in about 3 or 4 years. And I've talked to people that have seen him in tournaments.
Roy McIlroy too. Roy McIlroy got huge.
Yeah. But you know, the first one is the guy that's doing the commentary now. He was one of the first big strong guy.
Faldo?
No. No, you're wrong.
Greg Norman? No, he wasn't.
Greg Norman was a big workout.
He's the commentator. He's the commentator, the one that sits down at the end. What's his name?
David Duvall?
Yes. David Duvall was the first power
guy.
guy.
About Duvall, but I don't think of
But
Duvall.
he got into weights. Duvall got into weights, and he was one of those first guys that started, just jacking it out of sight.
I think some of them did it before they tested, and it was legal. So I mean, there was no law against it. But it's just you don't see people that get that big and strong that fast unless they're probably using something.
Yeah, this is going to surprise you here. Copia won the tournament, the St. Jude tournament, which is getting to be one of the strong tournaments out there, especially money-wise.
It's a World Golf Championship.
Yeah, 10-point. Why now?
It's a World Golf Championship.
Oh, yeah. And he won 10.5.
60 guys play.
10.25. He took home 1.745 for his winnings yesterday. Webb Simpson, bless his heart, he was in second and got $1,095,000 and shot 64 and lost yesterday. Copa, how do you pronounce it? Shot his last 2 rounds were 64-65. You can't beat that. Yeah, you can't beat it.
He's great.
And is this Tom? This is a guy from overseas that plays third.
Will told us how much they pay their caddies when they win. It's different. They pay their caddies certain things if they don't win, and if they win, the caddies get a nice percentage.
I always heard he got 10%, but I might be wrong. I don't know what.
And then Uncle Sam, we just said we'll get 37%.
Oh boy, you're right. I didn't realize how much Uncle Sam got. Boy,
I did a story on James Holzhauser, the Jeopardy champion, that allegedly won over $2 million in 32 appearances. And then I just started taking out the taxes. He won about $1 million after Uncle Sam got it. And, the state of California, where those shows are filmed, they filmed 5 episodes in 1 day. So he only worked in California 7 days over those 32 episodes. California took 12% of his $240,000.
240,000 more than that, wasn't it?
12% of $2.2 million.
Oh, yeah.
He just took it right out of his pocket. He never even got it. I mean, it was withheld. So,
oh, man.
I'm sorry, I got off on my tangent.
I think it's interesting, to see how much these guys are taxed. Of course, that's why so many of them live in Florida.
That's exactly right.
Because there's no state tax in Florida. Normally, they would have gotten 10 more percent. Is that right?
That's right. Well, in New Jersey, it's 11%.
In fact, a friend of mine was, and his wife that were at our big function this weekend. They had just driven up, and they've been down to. Oh gosh, what's the name? Where does Tiger live? That town down there.
He lives in Jupiter.
Jupiter. He lives in Jupiter Island, and it is considered the richest place in the world.
Richer than Palm Beach, West Palm Beach.
That's why they say that Jupiter Island. Now that's where Tiger owns an island out there too. So that's something like that. But that's where Tiger lives, and a lot of the other ones live. Because they get that tax break.
I think that if you play an NFL game against the Chargers or the Rams or the 49ers, the state of California taxes you 1/16 of your income for that football game you played in the state of California.
Yeah. Yeah, that is something. No question about it. Of course, my favorite golfer, Bubba Watson, finished back from around 10th, but took home $200,000 for his wares, and he'll probably give that to the charity. Probably most all of this will be charity money to help with the St. Jude.
What
Yeah, they had different kids on 18th hole holding the flag, and it was really, it was tear jerking to watch these kids that were going through all kinds of health issues, and the players giving them hugs and signing autographs and stuff like that. That's definitely for great cause up there at St. Jude.
I wonder how much money that hospital has given out
No telling.
since Danny Thomas started it. Hundreds of millions, probably.
Your favorite?
Thomas's wife was Marlo Thomas, who married Donahue.
That's
No,
his daughter.
that was his daughter. Marlo was his daughter.
Yeah, but then she married Donahue.
Well,
Yeah, she married. That's right. She married Phil Donahue.
years ago, yeah.
Wonder whatever happened to him. I mean, he was the guy back when I was growing up. I guess Oprah took over and ran him off.
I think he retired. He was he retired at the top. But you're right.
And I love Danny Thomas. He probably did more for charities than anybody in the history of show business. I just can't see. They say Paul Newman. People actually buy his dressings because they know it's going to charity. And it's a good product to go with it.
Spaghetti sauces.
Yeah. Italian dressing, all kinds of stuff like that. He was awfully good. Want to mention
when's fall camp start for Troy this week?
Whenever the first, the second day of August. When is the second day of August?
That'd be Thursday.
Thursday. They go hit the field on Thursday. I'm gonna be there too. Well, if I have to leave the show.
But you better take a water bottle with you.
Let me tell you this, and we were talking about yesterday, Mike. I walked on the new surface at
Memorial Veterans Stadium.
And went down, and there were 4 or 5 guys down there working. This is on Sunday afternoon. And I started walking around, and they were very nice. And one guy sort of just, told me all about it and everything. And I said, how hot is it out here? He said, well, they say it's 125 degrees on that surface. And they hadn't even put the BBs down yet, Mike. That's the last thing they do.
I wonder how many of those BBs they put down. I mean, it just must come in dump
well, you can see it's they're parked out there right now. There's several. They're real tall
cubes or something.
Yeah, I don't know what they call them, but it's going to take every one of them to fill that stadium.
Yeah, they're kind of like little pellets.
Yeah, and then they've got machines that sort of make it go around and makes it go.
I've seen pictures. Whoever designed it did a great job. It looks really good.
Oh, it is beautiful. It's a beautiful field. And,
it's a beautiful stadium. I mean, there's no.
Well, it's going to just add to that stadium, more than you'll think. I mean,
I don't see Troy ever expanding anytime in the next 50 years. I really don't. I think that's about as big and it's about as good as we need.
They had at the south end, Alec Whaley told me this himself. They can put an upper deck on that south end that could make it close to 50,000 people.
Yeah, but we've never.
I'm not saying we would ever do it, no question. But they say that it's built.
Well, you could do it.
They've already got the architectural design of what it would take to do it.
You never know. If you catch magic in a bottle and you have a couple memorable years in a row, you get in the right conference. It could happen.
No question about it. Of course, as we talk.
The next thing Troy has got to have as a Division I football program is an indoor facility. They've got to have, even if it's just 50 yards.
Oh, I realize that.
There's no excuse for a Division I program to go into a gym and practice.
Yeah.
I mean, Charles Henderson's got an indoor facility.
I'm making bar there.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, when Oklahoma State played here about, 10, 15 years ago, they borrowed the indoor facility. Let me tell you how they did it. They went in, they borrowed the indoor facility because they wanted to have a closed practice. Mm-hmm. Well, they went over to the schools, and then Coach Fountain was the head guy, and he said, yeah, you can use our facility and all that. Well, They were in there practicing, and Coach Fountain had to go in there to get something. And the coach said, hey, this Oklahoma State coach said, hey, you're not supposed to be in here. Coach turned and said, let me tell you, I can be in here as long as I want to and anywhere I want to, you know. But it was that old guy, what's his name, Mike? I'm a man. Gundy, the head coach. The coach had his orange and blue on, and he might have thought he was a player or what, you know, but we got a big kick out of it. Told the coach he couldn't come in there, you know.
So they didn't want to come back to Troy after that game.
Sure, then they got beat
I tell you,
bad.
a lot of people forget about Fountain, as a really good coach. I mean, he built a really good program at Charles Anderson. Then he went to Escambia Academy and has won 3 state championships. That guy could really coach.
Yeah, he's a good guy, too. And
he's a class act.
More heartbreaks as a coach as anybody in history. I think he had something like 5, maybe 6 kids were killed in accidents. I think most all of them were car accidents, and that he coached.
He really cares about his kids, and his assistants did too. And we were lucky to have Coach Fountain for as long as we did. I got to know him well.
He was still old school. He wore the towel on the sidelines. You don't see coaches doing that anymore.
Oh yeah.
I never heard him utter a profanity, and he was. I never really saw him lose his temper.
Yeah, that's right.
He was an excellent role model. I hope.
Yeah, came from a great family, a Bruton family.
Will Charles Anderson ever build like a sports Hall of Fame? Have a Hall of Fame? I mean,
I don't know, but I tell you what, we're Troy people. Let's pick the top 5 that you would pick to be in a Hall of Fame at Charles Anderson High School.
Charles Anderson, or are we going back to Troy High?
And Troy High School too. I'd have to go with Bobby Marlowe.
Bobby Marlowe was just a no-brainer. He was the second, or he was the first round pick of the New York Giants. Didn't go to the Giants, but he was.
Oh, let's see here. We got Mike on hold. Good morning. How you doing? You on Today in L.A.?
Hey, Mike. Will Matthews.
Will Matthews. Where you calling from, Will?
I'm actually in Dothan, but headed toward Ozark.
All right, I'm fixing to put you on hold. All right, got them both. Here we go, right here. Here we go. Bang, 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 bang. Now I'll do it again. All right, we're going to start with this.
yeah, man.
This. Wait a minute, I didn't have to do that. Hold on a second. All right, got both of you now, don't we?
Yeah, man.
Will Matthews calling in from Ozark.
We've already talked about
Doug
Doug Barron.
Barron, somebody told me you claimed to be kin to this guy.
Absolutely. Now, at first I thought he won $75,000 yesterday, but he actually won $81,000 because of the exchange rate.
All right, $81,000.
Because of what now?
The exchange rate.
Oh, God.
He made 60-something thousand pounds, but it equates to $81,000.
Yeah, okay. Mike, speak up a little bit. Will, you speak up a little bit, if you don't mind?
All right.
Will Matthews calling in from Ozark, and, of course, he's with the Matthews Law Firm. And
reset this story, Will, so for our viewers who missed it last week.
Well, Doug turned 50 last Wednesday, so he was eligible to play in the tournament. He went over last weekend, and on Monday he qualified. There were 600 people for 25 spots. He led the qualifying 3 under par. Okay? He then, in the tournament, the first day he shot a 69. Second day he shot a 69. The third day the weather was horrible, and he shot 4 over par the front 9 on Saturday. Ended up 3 over par, and that put him back at 1 over par. Well, yesterday he was 5 under par after 14 holes, and then he bogeyed 15 and 16. He ended up shooting a 67, and he tied for 5th, which was still a great showing.
yeah. Of course, this is one of their bigger events. Their purse was $2 million.
I mean, it's a major. I mean, will this now get him in some other tournaments now, Will, which is important? Will he build a...
Yeah, he automatically automatically gets in the next event. It's really hard to get on the senior tour without going to tour school. And so he's going to New York in 2 weeks or 3 weeks is the next senior tournament.
Does he get an automatic exemption for next year's Senior British Open by finishing in the top 5?
Yes. Yes. The top 8 get to come back, so he's automatically in next year.
It's amazing. You look at the people that play in that league, Senior Open.
Think of all the people
you never heard of these guys. A lot of them are club pros that decided to go pro. Isn't that right?
Yeah, and a lot of them are legends. So you got a mixture of people in it.
Michael, your guy, Mickelson, he shot 74 yesterday and ended up taking home 58,000. I'm sure he gave his to charity.
He gave it to his bookie.
Mickelson's, I don't even know if Mickelson will play on the President's Cup team. He's struggling. I mean,
well, he was 68, 73, 73, 74.
Well, he's 49 years old.
He's not playing well at all.
I mean, he's really struggling. Tom Watson was playing in the senior tournament with your cousin, and Watson said that was going to be his last time to play over in the Senior Open and the British Open, but nobody was greater in the Open Championship than Tom Watson.
Yeah, he won 5 British Opens and 3 Senior British Opens.
Dickie Pride Jr. This is Dickie Pride. Is this Dickie Pride or Dickie Pride Jr.?
This is Dickie Pride's first senior event, too.
This is Dickie Pride Jr. then, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Dickie Pride Sr. is my age, isn't he?
Yeah, or more. Yeah.
Joe Durant, didn't he play at Huntington?
Yeah.
He ended up. It doesn't show the money winnings here, but shows how he finished and finished up there pretty good.
Huntington had a great golf team for a long time.
They sure did, no question about it. And I used to watch them. I tell you what, you eat at Martin's restaurant over there. Yeah. You look at the gutter over there; it's full of balls, golf balls that people have hit from the Montgomery Country Club over there. That parking lot.
I've hit some. My brother's a member, and
I'm sure with anger, don't you think?
I have played several rounds at Montgomery Country Club, and I have put my share of balls into that road and over there by Martin's restaurant.
I know it. You're right. It's a wonder that it would hit somebody almost every day. We're on Today in L.A., brought to you by Max Federal Credit Union.
Where does Doug Barron play out of? What course?
Southwind in Memphis, where they played the PGA tournament, and Windham, which is next door to it.
What does he do for a living?
He actually he sells credit card machines to businesses.
Oh.
Okay, sounds like
not anymore.
He's got a very good business.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll still have that. I mean, I think that business pretty much he's got people working for him.
It would interest me to see how many people on the won money yesterday will give it back to charity. I wonder about it.
The St. Jude?
Yeah, wouldn't that be something? If all of them turned around and did it. I know all of them can't afford to do it, but we know Mickelson could afford it. All right, let's look at this. Gary Woodland could definitely, he was next to Lance. He could definitely pay it, don't you think? Could J.B. Holmes give his $61,000 back?
I guess he could now, but golf is the one sport you have no guaranteed salary.
What I'm saying, are they successful enough that they give it back?
I mean,
go ahead and finish your statement.
You can be top of the world, top 10 golfer for a year or two, and then 2 or 3 years later, you don't even have your tour card. I mean, it's that hard to be consistent enough to stay out there earning that living.
I see where D. Blue Chain, what's his name?
DeChambeau.
Yeah, Blow shot, Leslie Hardy shot 68, but it wasn't enough. He finishes way, way down, but with 66,000. I see him giving it to charity.
What Justin Thomas do?
Justin Thomas.
He finished
right here.
Under.
He 113,000. I wouldn't doubt if he didn't throw it in. It's, he's gonna get he needs a tax break, I'm sure.
He was already wearing shoes designed by one of the St. Jude kids all week.
Well, that was great. Bubba Watson.
He gives a lot of money back to charity.
Yeah, I can see Bubba Watson giving his back. He won 205,000.
That's your favorite
feed.
golfer, isn't it?
It sure is. Yeah, she sure is. He and Stabler was in football, and Bubba. I loved Arnold Palmer. Now I loved him.
Yeah.
But I like Bubba a lot.
What do you think Arnold Palmer would think about all these golfers wearing beards today? He didn't like that.
I didn't like that either.
He wanted the clean-cut golfers.
Yeah. Jim Furyk, 88,000. Yeah, he makes plenty of money. He probably gonna throw it back. What we're saying is, how many are gonna give this back to charity? I want to mention before we get going any further, they had
the event?
An event downtown to raise money for the recovery of this young lady that was killed in
Starling. Yeah.
Starling, and they had a beautiful ceremony downtown Troy last night at 8 o'clock. A lot of young people and everybody was holding candles, and a lot of people were donating to the cause. And in fact, I have a check that I've got to give to somebody for.
They raised over $50,000.
Troy raised over $50,000 last night.
Well, no, the GoFundMe page has raised over $50,000.
Oh, okay. The GoFund. What is it again? Explain that to us.
I mean, people start GoFundMe campaigns and pages to raise money for different causes, different people, different families after tragic events. And Kelsey Starling was definitely, something that they're trying to pay for more divers. They're using a dive team out of Dauphin right now that's supposed to have state-of-the-art equipment, and they're basically paying through the GoFundMe page for them to dive and hopefully, recover.
And they say it's real dangerous because it's a bunch of trees
it's
down there.
Underwater forest. It's extremely dangerous.
Yeah, and I hear they're trying to get some of the top people in the country and in the world at this to come and give them some efforts to find her body.
They say Smith Lake is one of the deepest lakes in Alabama and one of the hardest lakes as far as a recovery situation.
What I'm thinking, how does this become a forest though underwater? Either because they kicked it down there with their bulldozer when they were developing that property, or what?
I have no idea. I don't know if it was a dam they broke and built the lake or what. I don't know the history of Smith Lake.
But they say it's just like a regular pine tree, pine trees growing underwater, something like that.
Smith Lake's probably the clearest water lake I've been to.
It's considered the best. If you're gonna catch a fish out of a lake in the state of Alabama, you want it to be Smith Lake, as far as clean water,
Yeah, but I mean, anybody that can give to helping the GoFundMe page or donations, I mean, it's definitely going to a great cause to hopefully help the family, at this horrible time.
Well, you're seeing all the blue ribbons throughout town.
Steve, I don't know who knows anything about it, but if we could get an address, I would love to get an address so we can send these checks to help out. And it was a beautiful ceremony last night, and only Troy, Alabama can do stuff like that. It was really, really heartfelt. And
they've been doing a lot of stuff in Birmingham as well. She was a speech pathologist up there at I think Tuggle Elementary School, so she made a big mark on the city of Birmingham as well.
Oh yeah, precious girl. And I saw Daddy on Saturday and spoke to him, and it's tough. He's a grown man though. I mean, what I'm saying, he's tough guy, and of course it's broken his heart, and we'll probably never mend it again. But our prayers and our thoughts go out to that family, the Starling family, and he lost his wife 2 or 3 years ago, maybe around that time. Raised these girls. One of them is still in high school, and the other one is already graduated. As we said, she is the one that was cute.
She was at Alpha Alabama, and then after college, started working in Birmingham and lived in Homewood, which is a great place to live. So just hope and pray that they can find her.
Yeah. Saw Fred Couples in that tournament yesterday, and he was one of my favorites too. If I had to name a top 5, he'd be one I like.
Everybody likes Fred Couples.
Couples only won one major though. That's one thing about Couples. I think he won a Players and a Major, but I wouldn't consider him a Hall of Fame player.
I know it now. Who are we going to do the Hall of Fame for?
No, you're talking about
Troy. All right. Well, Marlowe would be one, and I would say number 2 be Meadows. Brown Meadows played the major leagues 10 years. Now here we get pretty tough.
I mean, coaches. I mean, Jay Jeffco would probably be one because he won a state championship.
Yeah, but we're not doing coaches. We're doing players. We're doing players, my friend.
Who was the Scarborough that played at Auburn? That he was the captain.
Bob Scarborough was the captain at Auburn. You're right. On the national championship team. No, wait a minute.
He was up.
I
think he was in that era.
There were so many great players on that team.
I would
early
put
Auburn
from
team.
my era. I would put.
We're talking about Troy, though. Troy.
I'd put Willie Collins and.
Willie Collins would definitely probably be on, and Sinclair Pendon too.
Yeah, Sinclair.
Pennington. Of course, they had the great Wallace Hogan, played quarterback prior to your daddy's. Bill Rice Sr., no question about it, played on the national championship team in Alabama. Was a great one.
Well, let's see some more baseball. Troy's kind of a baseball town.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Yeah. But
I would say that the great baseball players in my era were Ricky Knotts was unhittable and as a pitcher at Charles Henderson. Sam Drake played at Georgia Tech in the pros. Ross Jenright was a great player. Rod McCorder.
Right.
Basketball players. Darren Faison.
John Johnson recently was one of the best I've ever seen in high school.
Well, I tell you what, the best quarterback that's ever been through here, I'll put him up against anybody, is Austin Ingram. Boy, he was a very, did you ever see him play? He was a very good quarterback. Yeah. He come close to being on my list. He was a great player, no question about it.
What about basketball? Who's the best basketball player?
Oh, gosh.
We have
like
Troy produced a Division I.
Those two brothers, that were good. They played at Troy.
The Richards,
you
Adam.
What?
The Hollises? No, not the Hollies. The
The
Faisons.
Faisons, yeah.
Two Faisons.
Two of them played at
Darren
Troy.
had a great career at Charles Henderson and Troy University.
Yeah.
His little brother played at Troy University too. I think Adam Richards was good, and then his brother Malcolm Battle was one of the top recruits in America. Played for Coach Hollis on.
Yeah. I remember him.
That team, everybody thought was going to win the state championship. Then they played against John Carroll in the playoffs that ran that full court press.
Yeah.
And that just got us.
No question about
Drew
it.
Phillips on that team.
Ronald Steele.
But y'all, we should be able to do this with Marlowe and Meadows. We know they're in. And who else would be in?
What about the guy that
I tell you,
Coach Sadler, or y'all coach that went to Alabama? What's his name?
I don't know. Ronald Giddings now, to me, was a great three-sport letterman. He was a quarterback on the football team.
Wasn't there like a defensive offensive lineman that played under you and Sadler that went to Alabama? Barron?
Marvin Barron, yeah. You might have to put Marvin down there because Marvin was the AAA Player of the Year, and it came out in the Birmingham Post-Herald, and it had a picture that big of Marvin Barron. And then the rest of the team was around it. So I think I'd put Marvin Barron in. Now, Marvin ran track too. He was 210 pounder, ran 10 flat. About maybe around 220. Later on, he weighed 240, 250 when he played at Alabama. But Marvin Barron was that good to be in one of the top 5 players of all time in Charles Henderson history. Ronald Giddings, this guy, he instead of going to college, he signed a Major League Baseball contract with St. Louis, but he was one of the best all-around players. He was a great guard on the basketball team, a really good guard.
So what's the list going to be? Willie Collins on that list? Who's he ahead of?
Willie Collins would be on that list, but he just played that one sport. But I'd put Willie Collins down there. I would put him down there.
You got to narrow it to 5, though. So your locks are what? Sinclair, Pennington, Brian Meadows, Marlowe.
Wait a minute. I hadn't put Pennington in there yet, so let's put him in there. And now it comes, and the one I just mentioned to y'all just a while ago. So Pennington. Now, this doesn't happen to be one sport. It could be multiple sports now.
I'd say you got to put Dad in there. I mean, he started at Alabama for 3 years.
He sure did.
Played in the Senior Bowl, got drafted in the 5th round in the NFL.
Yeah, he did. And played on a great team
And
in Alabama.
the defense, his senior year at Alabama, gave up 25 points the entire year, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
He was on the best defense in history of Alabama and was the starting defensive end on that defense.
He was.
So what do you do after that? That's 4. Who's number 5?
All right, either Pennington or...
No, Pennington's already on there.
Wait a minute. All right, we got Pennington. We got Marlowe. Meadows. Rice, Bill Rice Sr. And I believe that's a good pick. And either between, we've already had Pennington down there, don't we? Ronald Giddings was awfully good. Willie Collins was awfully good.
What about Mr. Scarborough that was the captain of the Auburn?
Bob Scarborough, was the captain of the Auburn football team.
I mean,
Let's go with Bob Scarborough. Bob Scarborough.
I never heard the name of my life until today.
Are you serious? Bob Scarborough, captain of the Auburn football team in the mid-50s.
I'll tell you who else played at Auburn. Bubba Trotman started at Auburn.
He was good, but I'm gonna tell you.
I tell you what. I mean, it's hard not to put Drake. Drake was a legend when I was a little kid growing up.
I'm gonna tell him you said that.
He was good. I'm gonna tell you.
I'm not gonna lie. When I was a little kid, when I heard Sam Drake was pitching, we went to the games. I remember.
I tell you, Scarborough was good, but I'm not gonna put him down there. I don't know. He'd be very close. I'd put him in the mix right here. But it'll be between him and.
You got to think recently too. I mean,
Collins.
Richard McBride was one of the best high school linebackers. He didn't do much at Auburn.
Yeah, he was awfully good.
He was a great player.
I see he's in the transfer portal. Can he? I know he had an injury.
He's in it. I think.
He's got a neck injury. You know, he didn't play at Auburn last year, so I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, he must think that he can play, and I bet there's just question on whether he can get cleared.
I mean, look how good the Etheridge kid out of Charles Henderson High School was at Auburn. I mean, he was all SEC.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, hey, you know what? You might have something there. I will tell you this that
you might have to just put your list at 10.
Well, it'd be close. Let's just say this. Those two.
Bill's a great writer. Why don't you get Bill to write about it?
Well, if you did Pike County, you would have to put a couple.
Oh yeah, you would have a lot of
You
different.
just put all of Pike County High School.
I mean, nobody's. Well, Bobby Marlowe's a top. Well, I would say top all of them, but then you think about Cornelius Griffin had a great career,
they were great.
and then Fred Baxter.
Fred Baxter played 12 years in the NFL.
Yeah. Cornelius played probably about 9 years.
Another local guy that was very good. Was Al Head. Al Head played quarterback at Troy after he graduated from high school. Very good high school quarterback. But you know what?
Fine guy.
I've got Ingram being the best quarterback that's ever come through here. I'm telling you.
Wasn't Jimmy Norman a real good baseball player?
Yeah, he was a good baseball player, but he just played 1 year here in Troy. But he was a good baseball player. Played with the Cubs organization. All right, all right. We got Marlowe. We've got Meadows.
Meadows, Rice, and Pennington.
Bill Rice. Ronaldo, Sente, Pennington. They say people are saying, "Who is he? Who is he?" Just I tell you what. Just go to Opp, go to Andalusia, go to Elba, go to Pike County, and ask them who Sente Pennington was.
I think he won the state championship in sprinting a couple of years too.
Yeah, he was a great sprinter. Well, he was the fast man in the state of Alabama, and he's fast men on Auburn's team for a long time. How about 4.21?
Yeah.
Pretty fast, isn't it? 4.21.
You got to put one basketball player on there. Who's the basketball player going to be?
Boy, I tell you, you're right. And both those boys that were brothers, Faisons, played at Troy, were very good players.
I have to. If you're
Now, what do you do on cheerleader? Do you do a combination of the beards? Do you do Carmen and Stacy?
Well, they were cheerleaders at Alabama. All right, we got to come up with a fifth person here. All right.
You got to have the criteria. It's a great high school
Ronald
career, and
Giddings.
then went
Ronald
and was
Giddings
good
was
in college or the pros.
This guy,
I
Ronald.
mean, I know he's whole life, Richard Calhoun's in my top 10. Nobody was better at linebacker than Richard Calhoun.
Oh, no, I don't believe that. Now, he was good, but there was a lot of good ones out there.
I don't know, man. He had a full scholarship to Vanderbilt to play football.
I know. Well, yeah, it could have gone. In fact, he could have gone to Mississippi State. He could have gone to Georgia Tech, Duke.
Duke, yeah. But McBride was better than Richard, but Richard was really good.
McBride was really good. No
Willie
question.
Collins, I'll make the case for him. He was the key defensive player on the state championship team.
He was a great player.
I think he was all conference at Troy and the 3-year starter on the national championship team.
I would put him down. And let me tell you, the close second would be several people. One of them would be Scarborough, who was captain of the Auburn team in
late 50s, early
57. No, 57.
You got Marvin Barrow, you got Austin Ingram, you got what was it, Zara White or whatever that played at Auburn that was really good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Rah White. Yeah, but
Everidge has got to be in that top 7 at least.
Yeah,
Everidge was a great player.
Everidge was a great player, and it'd be right there. That fifth spot would go between Everidge, Collins, who Collins was. If he'd been 4 or 5 inches tall, he'd been a household word, wouldn't he? He'd been all pro every year. I mean, he had the tenacity, Mike, that nobody else had. You know, you remember the great player.
He was mean.
I tell you who he reminded me of. You remember the great player that Troy had that was killed in that indoor arena game? Lucas. You know, Lucas, Mike,
Lucas.
you know, you were around him. He was big, he was strong,
so
he was fast, but more than anything, he was mean. I mean, he was mean. And let me tell you, Willie Collins, in the same breath, was a solid football player that was, he was like a man among boys. And that was sort of
he had baby fat in high school, but when he got to college, he got on the weights, and he
would go down. And of course, you know, Austin Ingram had a great career. He'd be very close in the ballot to Austin Ingram might. And then, like you said, John Johnson was an excellent receiver.
Who was the quarterback that played for Coach Fountain that threw the Allen Jones' son? He threw for a ton of yards.
Oh, yeah.
Went to a junior college in Mississippi.
Yeah.
That was when Vincent was the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, that's
now
right.
the offensive coordinator at UAB. I'll think of his name tomorrow, but he was a really good quarterback.
Ronald Giddings, though, of course, he starred as a quarterback as a basketball
I tell you, Urban Meyer's son-in-law, Corey Dennis, was pretty good.
Corey Dennis was pretty good, no question. There was several of them that were good, no question. And
there was some receiver from Charles Henderson that went to Troy University and had a good career.
Michael, he was one of them.
Hey, let's throw out one of my old friends. Julius Pittman had a great high school and college.
He sure wanted. I mean, he's good, but he wanted a Hall of Fame.
But I'm throwing out.
But he was good, no question about it.
He played at Troy for 3 or 4 years.
I saw him score. He had a great
punt returner.
Great punt returner, good receiver. He caught the ball with his hands.
One of the fastest white people you'd ever see, if you can say that on TV.
I don't think you can.
No, we'll take that back.
No, he wasn't that fast now.
He was fast.
I've been around him, but he wasn't a sprinter. And I think he'll tell you that himself.
He had football speed.
Yeah, that's right. He ran great routes. No question about it. Wanted to mention some of our sponsors this morning. Troy Nissan on the bypass right here in Troy. And I've got to drive a Nissan, and boy, it is a nice vehicle. No question about it. Want to mention also our good friends at Dixieland Dental, located 9 miles north of Dothan on Highway 231. Dr. Michael Precise, Dr. John Street, Dr. Damon Street, and Dr. Robert Precise make up one of the largest dental clinics in Alabama. And Troy Bank and Trust Company. Remember, Troy Bank and Trust Company is the only bank you'll ever need. Sisters Restaurant, we appreciate them.
Were they covered up on graduation day on
Boy,
Friday?
were they. Let me tell you this, the greatest place to eat from here around, Sisters Restaurant right here in Troy. We'll be back.
How long can we hold our smile?
my job, and we get to help people who are having the worst day of their life.
You just got to be ready for whatever hits.
She wasn't breathing. She was almost dead.
Stay still there. Stay still. It's fine.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance needs.
Tori Dunn from Dixie's Trails. You get your truck washed here?
I sure did.
Millie Johnson. I know you're not bringing them cow trucks over here.
I do, and they're like me when I leave.
Loretta, what are you doing?
Getting my car detailed.
At Trojan Detail, we do it all.
And see who looks best. Here we are. We're back on the air, Mike.
Back on our chair, and pardon me for eating while I talk, but
You have an apple pie for breakfast.
it is college football, and Auburn, we got their schedule. We're going to break it down today, and Alabama's, and it'll be a lot of fun, Mike. What do you think?
Well, I mean, we've already gone over Alabama and Auburn's record. I had Auburn going 6-6, and I had Alabama going 12-0.
That might have been before Alabama lost this edge pass rusher.
Well, let's look. I might have a different opinion now.
I think Auburn's going to win at least 9 games. That's my bet for all the
Well,
bettors
if
out
he
there.
wins 9 games, that means he'll have to beat either Georgia or Alabama, which I don't see that happening.
No, he can lose to Georgia and Alabama and then win and then lose to somebody else. Well, you got 12 regular season games and go 9-3. That means they've got to beat Oregon, and then they've got to beat, Texas A&M and LSU will be the big games.
Yeah, I'm looking at the schedule.
Well, if he takes a freshman quarterback and he wins at LSU, that'll be something to see.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, there's no question about
But
it.
the defense is so good and has so much depth, and then the offensive line comes back. I just read the quote from Cadillac Williams that said that Whitlow's going to be one of the best running backs in America. Both quarterbacks can apparently run the ball, which is, to me, if Auburn has a quarterback that can run, they're going to have a prolific offense. Yeah. That's just the history.
I tell you what, I've met Kevin Steele at least 2 or 3 times, and especially when I was in the sporting goods business, and he would come to different, areas and start just talking to people and telling stories. And he's one of the more enjoyable coaches I've been around. I mean, he is a real funny guy and has, of course, some of the greatest stories ever. Of course, coaching with Saban, but the guy used to be the head coach of Baylor. Used to be with the Carolina Panthers. He's the one that was the coach of Carolina Panthers. They started chewing out Kevin Green, the Auburn, great player and also NFL Hall of Famer. And Kevin Green attacked him on the sidelines during the middle of the game. I mean, that guy's been everywhere.
Who are you talking about now?
Kevin Steele, Auburn's defense coordinator.
Oh, yeah, no question.
Guy. I've met him several times.
Sure. Like you said, Saban dodged a bullet after one coaches meeting that I heard about. But, some people you can talk down to, and some folks you can't.
And plus, when they're hot,
evidently this guy you can't talk down to.
And that's when people are going to snap. I've seen it on the sidelines as a reporter or a photographer. I can think of one Troy University lineman one time, transferred from Alabama, was really good. Hot game, and some coach or player was getting on to him, and that guy barked back at him and shut him up in a hurry. You just don't mess with these people when they're under that stress.
That heat of the night.
Well, I mean, it's just like we talk to coaches all the time. I mean, these guys are gladiators, These guys, I mean, you don't want to mess with a college football player anywhere.
No, you don't. No question. I want to mention, of course, the Alabama opens up with Duke, and I don't think there's going to be much problem there.
Well, I mean, if Duke's quarterback would have stuck around, it would have been a lot better game. Daniel Jones was a junior and ended up being the 5th pick. He's going to, be battling Eli Manning for the Giants' starting quarterback job.
Then Auburn plays plays Oregon, and they play that game in Dallas, don't they?
Yeah, I'll be real interested to see the crowd for that game. How many people Auburn fans would bring for that game, and then Oregon, I would think maybe would bring 10,000.
I'll just tell you what I think they'll do. They'll fill it up. Yeah. But Auburn, don't mess with Auburn when it comes to fans, Mike. There's only one out there that can compare with them.
Well, has Auburn had a game in Jerry World yet? I don't think they have. So the novelty is there. Alabama's had a couple, and the first couple Alabama fans turned out by the 40,000. So I think Auburn's going to have a big crowd.
Auburn's probably got the best fan base in America next to who? Next to who, Mike?
Depends on what.
The best fan base in America, Auburn, except for one team. Who is that?
Alabama fans are good.
They're good, but hey, no, one team stands out above them, buddy, especially on game day.
Who is it?
Texas A&M.
Yeah,
the Aggies. The Aggies have the best fans.
Do they travel there?
All right.
I've never known A&M fans to travel.
You might be right there. Bill Jackson Ford on your good logo there.
Speaking of traveling.
Beautiful logo there.
You can travel to a ball game in the Bill Jackson.
Now the Kentucky basketball fans are notorious travelers.
Oh, they are.
Yes.
You're right. That'd be a great question. Who is the best travel team?
You remember when Alabama played UCLA?
Alabama's a huge travel school.
You remember Alabama played UCLA in Dubos's last year, expected to be a national championship contender, first game of the year in the Rose Bowl. And I didn't go, but my brother went, and tons of people I know it. But I think there were 40,000, if not more, Alabama fans in California for that game.
I know it. That's
regular season game.
But
probably half the stadium was Alabama people.
And Alabama, I mean, Auburn does follow their team very well, and then
Tennessee back in the day was big travelers.
But now this Texas A&M crowd is just unreal.
Tennessee's crowds have fallen off big time in the last 10 years.
Yeah, at one time they used to be big, no question about it. LSU used to be big. All this stuff about playing in Baton Rouge, Alabama has won what? 80% of the games they had.
It hadn't affected Alabama. You're right.
It never has. And
they always say the Tide doesn't lose in Baton Rouge.
Well, that's about the truth.
They won 8 in a row against LSU, 12 in a row against Tennessee.
Yeah. I'll say the loudest fans in the country are definitely Auburn. For a big game, an Alabama or Georgia game, or any big game, I'll never forget the mountaintop game when Alabama went to Auburn the first time. There has never been a louder stadium than that stadium. Never will be, in my opinion.
You talking about 88, the first game there?
89, when Alabama was undefeated, Auburn had a good team, and came back and won a good ball game. But gosh, that place was intense.
That's the reason Bill Curry didn't make it to Alabama. He never could beat Auburn.
Well, that's right. Exactly right.
But it's a myth that Curry was fired. He wasn't fired. He had, I think, 2 years left on that contract.
He was going to Kentucky, yeah.
He spins it that he was fired, but he could have coached Alabama the next year if he wanted to.
Yeah.
They also say the brick went out his window and it didn't go through it.
He threw it out.
Oh, you mean when the coaches threw it out?
Yeah, he made it that somebody threw a brick through his window, but they always say that glass was going out the window. Yeah. That's what I heard.
I've read up on that, and the consensus seems to be that's a lot of people suspect that, but some office manager or custodian says, nah, it was there. It was a real story.
All right, we're talking.
Wasn't your uncle over the grounds there? I mean, wasn't he known?
Yeah, he was the athletic facilities director. I guess.
Yeah. Let me tell you a quick story, and don't let anybody tell you it's not true. Everybody says, all right, 8 years, 15 years ago or more, Troy went to the all-weather surface.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
One of the first in this area to do it.
And one of the first in this area. I'll tell you why. Because every year they had they would reseed the field and it would die. For something like 4 or 5 years in a row, they had to put
Fresh turf now.
Fresh
Sod.
turf down, sod down before every
Yeah.
season. Hey, so that was costing them money and a lot of manpower. And finally they said, well, let's go with the artificial. And then when they renovated the baseball field, not too long after, they went to all the weather.
One of the first to do.
Troy's probably one of the very few all weather on all those two major sports.
I mean, I didn't even know this until you told me, but they don't even have dirt on the base paths, right?
No, no way. It's all, and this that they put down is a state of the art. So I was by there yesterday and looked at it. It's just beautiful, breathtakingly beautiful. The field is, and I asked the guy, "Is this the top stuff out there?" He says, "The very best."
Well, those
it's
fields.
Pro Art College.
The original AstroTurfs were too hard.
Yeah.
But now these are.
You remember at Alabama when they were on AstroTurf? I used to walk out there.
I mean, it's like playing on concrete.
Yeah, no, well, it was like playing on sponge rubber too, though, in my book.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, you had to get used to running on it.
Yeah, it was like sponge rubber.
I would think that somebody that never run on it would have a hard time adjusting to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the old stuff. You remember that, Mike?
Oh yeah, I actually had some of that old Legion field turf. You know, they sold it, I guess. Somehow we got some of it.
Yeah, I want to say Tennessee started all that. I want to say the AstroTurf. I could be wrong, or it might have been Houston.
I mean, in the South, though, it seemed like, Alabama still has grass. Auburn still has grass. It seems like you could grow grass in the South. I would rather have grass than anything, in my opinion.
If you look at it, this is great conversation. You know, we got different things going on right now.
Well, how many schools in the SEC are turf?
All right, that's what I was going to finish to tell you. The big schools, the Alabamas,
Auburn,
the Auburns, the Tennessees,
LSU,
the LSUs,
Texas A&M,
the A&Ms, I think. You might make a question mark there.
Georgia.
Is Florida AstroTurf? I think they're grass.
They're grass.
Yeah, they're grass.
Florida, all right. We're looking at almost every one of these. Who now?
You know Kentucky's got bluegrass.
Kentucky's got grass.
I think Vanderbilt's artificial, sir.
Vanderbilt's artificial, I think.
Ole Miss is artificial.
Ole Miss is artificial.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they are. But Mississippi State's grass. And you know what? They can't afford to not be grass. You know,
that's what they're famous for.
That's what they're famous for. You know, they're famous for golf course grass. Did you know that, Mike?
That's a big.
Mississippi State is. It would be a shame to see them.
Arkansas might be turf.
Wait a minute, they're turf, I believe.
Arkansas also plays on two fields like Alabama used to.
And that field in Little Rock is old and run down.
I think they just play one game.
But you're right. I think they play.
South Carolina's grass. We've been there.
Yeah, it's
Alabama goes back for the first time since 2010. We know what happened in that game.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, Steven Garcia game. Played the game of his life.
Yeah. You know, and even outside the conference, FSU is grass, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
They're grass. Most everybody that has the big, look at it. All right, now Ohio State does have artificial, or does it?
They're turf, yeah.
They're turf. Michigan's turf.
Up north, it makes more sense.
Yeah, Michigan's turf.
You know, Notre Dame's gone to turf.
Have they gone to turf? Notre Dame? And see, they always.
I think they've gone to turf.
Let me tell you something about Notre Dame on game day. Now, everybody knows all about touchdown Jesus and all that at the end of the season. What else is different about Notre Dame? And I'm going to ask the same question, their field, and the same question.
They don't play many night games. They just play during the day.
But I think they finally got some lights. But let me tell you, there's something they do that's different than anybody else is around. And the same way at LSU, they got something.
They don't have anything in the end zones.
All right, they don't. But tell me about their field. Tell me about the field.
No.
All right, in the end zone, they.
It's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
No, but we're talking about Notre Dame. They do have stuff in the end zone, but it's just slanted, just lines. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Those lines. Just the way that they used to do them 100 years ago. That's the way the end zones at Notre Dame, they do at Notre Dame. Now, LSU does something very different than anybody else's I've seen in college football. Tell me what it is.
I just said that.
What did you say?
They do their the numbers, 5,
All right.
10, 15, 20.
That's right. They
25, 30,
go
35,
from
40.
goal line. They have put a G in the goal line. Then say 5, 10, 15, 20.
I think their goalpost actually has 2 bars too instead of 1 in the middle.
They sure do. You're exactly right. Unless you, but have you ever seen anybody that does it 5, 10, 15, 20?
I was thumbing through the football magazines and noticed something. Name me the programs that don't have their school name anywhere on their uniform, on their helmet.
Penn
or
State's one.
Alabama's one.
Alabama's one.
Georgia Southern.
If I'm going to put him on hold, I'm going
Most
to bring you
schools
right
have
in.
either their nickname or their team name prominently on their
Good morning.
helmet or their jersey.
Good morning, you're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Hey, Mike, this is Forrest. Notre Dame, after 5 years having turf, they're going back to natural grass this year.
They're going back to that. Listen to this. Forrest Lee.
He knows it.
And I don't know if Mike picked up on the other end, but Forrest Lee's on the phone, one of my very good friends. I'll put you on hold and bring you back in. That is good conversation. If you like trivia.
I watched Notre Dame on ESPN Classic.
All right, everybody's on now. Excuse me, but everybody's on, Mike?
I'm on.
How about you, Farley?
I'm on.
Farley calling you from Troy Elementary School. Have y'all started school yet?
No, I'm at my living room.
Well, for calling in on my show this morning, we're going to eat breakfast together at Bird Drugs on the corner in downtown Troy.
All right, I'll try to do that.
Okay, Farley, though, Mike is a native of Goshen, Alabama. Things that are different, and then something that Rice brought up I did not realize. LSU's got that every 5-yard mark on their stadium, and they also have that dark without their I don't know how they make it, but one grass is greener than the other.
Like we're going to have at Troy now.
Yeah, all right, but something he just said, Forrest, is this. What is something else different? Do you know, Forrest, at LSU?
The old standard goalpost.
That's right.
Yeah, they're the only people I know that do that have that kind of goalpost. Do you know anybody else? They say Troy's going to get new goalposts. They've already taken them down. They're going to get new goalposts too.
Now, that's the only ones that I know of.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that high school and colleges, the width of their goalposts are about 2 or 3 feet on both ends. Wouldn't you say?
Oh yes.
Wider.
Those are closer in college.
Yeah, that's right. It makes it a lot tougher to kick field goals. Same way with your hash marks. The hash marks, are they further out or further in?
Let's see.
They're different.
Mike, are you on?
Question.
Yeah, I'm on.
I think they're further out. They don't give you as much room. They're further in. The hash marks are further in, I want to say, but maybe somebody will call in and tell us the dimensions. But
I had to go take the garbage out when y'all was.
Oh, you did? You were there to pick up garbage in your neighborhood on Mondays. They pick it up mine on Fridays.
Monday in my neighborhood. They are there at 7:15 every morning. You better have it out.
I'm going to give you a couple of names.
All right.
I don't know if they'd be top 5. They'd be top 20 for sure. Chase Smart.
Chase Smart, yeah, you're right. He was. You're exactly right. He's one of the best high school baseball players I've ever seen. And who else?
On the female side, all sports, you'd have to go with Maury Davenport would be in there.
Maury Davenport, you're exactly right, my friend.
And but looking at tennis or golf or some of that kind of stuff, I don't know a whole lot about the history of Charles Henson on that end, but
well, you think about it, it's about like having a Maury Davenport. It's about like having a Pistol Pete Maravich on your girls' team.
Well, if we expand our Hall of Fame to Pike County, you got to put Mike Pelton in strong consideration from Goshen.
But we're just looking right now at the city of Troy.
Wait till you see Coach Jones' daughter will go SEC too.
Who now? Oh yeah, she's a great player.
Basketball player.
Hey, speaking of athletes, Muriel Saunders, Miss Saunders, is in my church, First Methodist Church, and we had a meeting yesterday, and she says one of her grandsons, 17 years old, from Georgia, Atlanta, is being recruited by all the top college golf programs, including Alabama.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Well, congratulations. But now, of course, we've had some good golfers, but you're right. You're so right, Forrest, about Amara Davenport. She was a very, very exceptional, no question about it.
From my era.
What about who's the greatest archer of all time?
Farley. Forrest, tell us the best archer you ever seen come out of Troy.
Robin Hood.
Well, let's see. I'd say Chris Hendricks on the boys' side. Chris Hendricks. And on the girls' side, I would say Aaron Jordan. Aaron Jordan,
I got you.
Yeah, those two. And but going back to Austin Ingram, he was a very good baseball player too.
He sure was.
Baseball pitcher.
Good pitcher. Austin Ingram. It's a shame. It's a shame that somebody did not pick up Austin Ingram because he could throw the football. Did you ever see him play?
Yes, I watched him several times. He was great. I didn't understand why.
His grandmama didn't tell me to say a word of this. And of course, his granddaddy, quite an athlete himself, Charles Ingram.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know he's quiet. You wouldn't know it, but he was a real good football player. I played with him.
Speaking of women, from my era in track, there's a lady that graduated with me named Wanda Elder, who she set all kind of records in high school, and then she ran track at Troy and was one of the top in the nation in the Gulf South Conference, I think in the 400 meters and 800 meters.
Well, let me tell you, I keep up with track quite a bit. The Ray twins were great track people. I tell you how good they were. They got 4 years full scholarship to the University of Missouri. Well, Harry ran the mile, set a state record, and Larry ran the 880 back then, and that was also a state record. They were twins. They grew up over there on Orion Street. They used to run to school every day. They were the coolest people, great boppers. Both of them were peg pants and tennis shoes. They were those type guys, but they were really good. But I'll tell you, another very good athlete that came through Troy was Jerry Allen. That's Sybil Allen, that a good friend Sybil, who was Bill Chapman's daughter, is watching this today. But her husband Jerry won first place in the state track meet in the 180-yard hurdles and the 120-yard hurdles. He won state championships in both of them. The only hurdler that was better than him was in the class above him, and that guy's name was Richmond Flowers. You've heard that name before.
The first time I heard about Bo Jackson wasn't him playing football. I was a good friend with a guy named John Clark, who was a good hurdler in high school, and he qualified for the state track meet, which was a big deal.
That's right.
And he came back and he was just raving about this guy, Bo Jackson,
from Macadora,
that won every event he entered, and he entered about 4 or 5 of them.
And he's big and he's strong.
So that's how the first time I heard about Bo Jackson was his track exploits.
His name was, Mike, you know it well. What was his real name?
What, Vincent Bo Jackson?
Vincent Bo Jackson. That's exactly right.
We always called him Wrong Way Bo growing up.
Until he hit that linebacker.
Don't you think if Bo Jackson would have trained for the decathlon, he would have won the gold medal in the decathlon?
You're right. He was very, very good at it. I tell you something else about him. He was humble, too. He and I tell you what, the guy next to him, our great basketball player, Mike, that also went to Auburn. What?
Charles Barkley.
Yeah, Barkley. Barkley was also. Was you at the Auburn game that time that we walked in and in the Coliseum?
We walked in on Auburn practice at one time, and Barkley was talking to us.
All right, and he turned around and walked up there and was talking to us. This was at homecoming or something like that. And I said, he's a pretty good guy.
Very personable. I've got a Bo Jackson story that says he might not be so humble. One of my good friends, Kyle Ingalls, was a great athlete, baseball player. He played at Auburn for 1 year, played a lot, and he was teammates with Bo. The story he tells about Bo, one day after a game, or they're standing in the parking lot getting ready to get on the bus, he said, "Kyle, you ever had $1 million in your hands?" And Kyle said, "No, Bo, I never have." He said, "Well, feel this," and he lifted up his leg and put it in Kyle's hand.
Oh, gosh.
Those legs were worth $1 million.
That's a pretty funny story there.
Yeah. But you know,
They were worth more than $1 million.
another thing, though, another great thing about both those guys, they have been great promoters of their university. What if you were a high school star in football or basketball, and you were trying to decide where to go, and they walk in and said, "Hey, man, Auburn's the place to go," and it's Bo Jackson or Charles.
You've already did a documentary. They did a documentary on Frank Thomas, Bo Jackson, and Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
All at Auburn at the same time. I mean,
And you know, Frank Thomas is going to end up making more money than all of them, I believe. he is well known. You know, he's a gosh. You talk about a great look. You know, as an athlete, he really had it. You know, he was a tight end that turned around and started playing baseball full time for the.
all of them could have
Chicago
played
White
multiple
Sox.
He
sports.
had 530 home runs. He's a Hall of Famer.
He had more home runs than Mickey Mantle. Did you know that?
Mickey Mantle hit 548.
No, he didn't hit 548. We're talking about my idol, Mike. Look that back up now. Tell the truth. And tell the truth.
Barkley could have been a great tight end.
Mantle hit 523, I think.
No, you're wrong on that.
Wait a minute. What was it then, son?
Let's get a bet on this. So
he knows a lot, but when he's talking about my idol, it was I want to say 523 or 533, something like that.
Where was Mickey Mantle from?
Converse, Oklahoma. Converse.
You, my dad
Or
used to.
Spainview. There was an Indian name too called Spainview, or Commerce, Oklahoma.
500.
536. I was right. Why not?
536.
That's right.
You said 523.
Or 536. I did both of them. The computer was working and it came back through. Whatever, you know.
He was from Spavinaw, Oklahoma.
That's right, Spavinaw. That's what I was trying to pronounce.
He followed Joe DiMaggio. One of the things Dad used to always do that tickled me, he would shake hands with somebody and he'd say, "Shake the hands with the man that shook hands with Joe DiMaggio." So one time, Dad, when he was a football player at Alabama, they went to the Liberty Bowl, and Coach Bryant took him to New York City, and for some reason, he got to meet Joe DiMaggio. And so he got to shake hands with
let me say this. Scotty Sowers used to say that about Babe Ruth. He said, "Hey, meet the man who shook the hand of Babe Ruth." You know,
I beat
years
that,
ago.
Joe DiMaggio.
Years ago, Babe Ruth played in an exhibition game at Crampton Bowl in Montgomery. Mike? You knew that used to be a baseball field. Did you know that?
Yeah.
And the Yankees played that exhibition game, and Scotty was in the service or whatever, and he went down there and shook his hand. You know.
Wow.
Of course, I was at, and these are special times. I saw the New York Giants play the Cleveland Indians in 1956. They had played each other in the World Series, and the Giants had won it. But I can name you the starting lineups for both those teams. I can't tell you exactly what address I live on, but I can tell you that who was on that team.
I used to be able to do that for a lot of teams.
Could you do that far? Could you do that far? Could you name any of those guys on that roster?
You talking about the Yankee roster?
No, it was a New York Giants.
Willie Mays.
You got one of them right, Willie Mays.
Juan Marichal.
He went on there back then.
Who was the guy that hit the shot heard around the world? Didn't he play for the
Dusty Rhodes.
No.
That was Bobby Thompson.
Bobby Thompson. I'm sorry, Bobby Thompson. Dusty Rhodes played with the Giants, and you know where his hometown was?
I only know one Dusty Rhodes.
Montgomery, Alabama was his hometown.
What current player in Major League Baseball has the most home runs right now? Can anybody name that?
You know, that's pretty hard. I tell you, that is pretty hard. Who?
Pujols.
That's right, Albert Pujols.
Look at Farley. Look at Farley, the youngster out of Goshen.
He was win sports champion.
Albert Pujols has 636 home runs.
Gosh, that's a bunch.
So he's only behind Bonds, Aaron, Babe Ruth, Alex Rodriguez, Willie Mays. So he'll pass Willie Mays before his career's over.
You know something about it? He's done it in a very humble way. You know that? I bet if you found out that I bet he did things in his community. I bet he'd been a great person. Because I would have known that he did that. most people, would have said, "Gosh, 600 home runs."
I heard somebody on a TV show asking what professional sport would you like to play, and I thought it was a no-brainer, professional baseball, because you can make more money than about any sport, and you can play for 15, 20 years.
I'll tell you.
Golf's the game you want to play. If there's anything, you play golf your whole life.
Yeah,
It's hard to stay on that top level. Look at Duval or any number of golfers that just lose it.
All right, let me tell you a huge difference in now and then. Back in the 50s and the 60s, there were two 10-man leagues or two 8-man leagues. And now, how many leagues do they have, Mike? How many teams do they have in professional baseball?
Have 3 divisions.
Oh, man.
3 divisions.
6 divisions total.
6 divisions total.
It's definitely in the 30s.
Back then, there was only 8 or 10. See if y'all can name them. This would be a great trivia question. Name me, and y'all can compare with me if you want to, whatever. The teams that were in the mid 60s in the major leagues, who were they?
Well, let's see, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Washington Senators, the Milwaukee Brewers,
now Milwaukee was a National League team.
They were the Milwaukee Braves, weren't they?
The Braves, that's
the Detroit,
Brooklyn Dodgers.
Brooklyn Dodgers are the National
Cleveland
League.
Indians.
Cleveland was the American League. All right, Farley, come on.
What'd you have? The Philadelphia A's?
Yeah, Philadelphia Phillies, man. The Philadelphia Phillies.
Well, they were National
Not the Phillies. What was the Athletics? It wasn't the Oakland Athletics.
Kansas City Athletics in the American League. That's right, but I don't know if
In the
they
National
changed.
League, you had the St. Louis Cardinals.
They were the Kansas City Athletics, that's right. And they had the Cardinals in the National
The
League.
Chicago White Sox, the Chicago Cubs.
White Sox was the American League. Cubs was the National League.
What about Detroit?
Detroit was the American League.
Monarchs. They weren't the Monarchs.
No, the Tigers. Also in the National League, you had the New York Giants.
Mm-hmm.
And the Mets weren't around back then. You would have
Had no West Coast teams, right?
No, because later on.
You had the Cubs, didn't you?
The Cubs, yeah, that would be an American National League team.
Just think of your big cities, and then they probably had a
Cubs, Chicago Cubs, of course, St. Louis, Missouri. Wait a minute, now this is getting to be pretty tough.
What about Minnesota? Was the Twins there then, or was
they were an American League team? They were the Senators, and then they became the Twins, but they were always stayed in the American League.
So the Washington Senators became the Minnesota Twins.
Oh, we're leaving out the Red Sox.
No, Red Sox. No, they named it earlier in the American League, but we're having a little trouble.
Oh, Cleveland Indians.
Indians, we already named them. They were in the American League. Right now, we got Milwaukee. We've got Philadelphia.
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Nobody had Pittsburgh. You're right. Pittsburgh. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The Philadelphia Phillies. Were they around?
What about when did the Cincinnati Reds come along?
They were one. All right, that's one that we missed out. They were old.
I could name about their roster.
We got one out there. I want to say we got one out there.
Orioles,
the Baltimore Orioles, American League though.
Do you see what Trump said about Baltimore? The big.
What did he say?
He says it's a cesspool and
when do you do that?
A rodent-infested, terrible place to live, and so everybody that's from Baltimore is upset at him.
Are you serious? When did he do that?
He said it was worse than the border of Mexico.
Trump, you got to keep your mouth shut. You don't say things about people.
Well, he got upset with some of their representatives criticizing him, so he criticized.
Yeah. Well, and just this week they named their ballpark the best baseball field in America was the Boston, where the Baltimore Orioles play. You know why? You know why why it's so unique?
Well,
in the right field is a office building.
Yeah.
It was right up against the fence almost.
Didn't they start the trend of all these stadiums going retro and getting...
Yeah.
I think now the stadiums are as much of an attraction to the fans as the players on the field are.
That Baltimore Stadium is named what?
Camden Yards.
Camden Yards. And evidently, Camden, there was an old, like I said, you familiar, it was an old building.
Yeah.
right there. The
That's
right
where Cal Ripken played for how many games in a row did he play before he set
Boy, he played in a bunch of them.
beat Lou
Sure
Gehrig's
did,
record?
no question about it. We still, I want to say, need one more National League team, don't we? Who else could be there? St. Louis, we got them. Steve up there probably got it.
Well, see, before the Braves, they were the Milwaukee.
You never did say that. What year are you going off of?
We're talking about the 50s and 60s. We're not talking about Los Angeles. Well, the Dodgers. That's right. That's who it is. Los Angeles Dodgers in the National League. We didn't say Dodgers because later on they moved to. They were the Brooklyn Dodgers. Excuse me, the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Well, I mean, the Mets came in the 60s too, didn't they?
That you could be right. Mets could be right, and then.
I mean, they won the championship in '69.
Yeah, and the Giants could have already moved to San Francisco, and the Dodgers could have already moved to Los Angeles. And then later on, they brought in the San Diego Padres.
Sandy Koufax, Don Drysdale.
Yeah. And
I remember him with Steve Garvey, the Penguin. Remember him?
Yeah, I remember him, a little short third baseman.
Don Sutton was the one on their pitching staff.
That's right.
And then these players would stay together for 10 years. That's why you got to know them, because they all stayed on the same team.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to have Raymond Leopard call in the show one day and ask how many Cubs games he watched.
Why, is he a big Cub fan?
Oh my goodness! Every day I went into Raymond's when I was a kid, he had the Cubs on. Yeah,
I didn't know.
Because the Cubs always played day games.
Yeah. And another thing,
they were on the Superstation.
What makes the Cubs so unusual? What is it? What is the one thing that comes out when you think of the Chicago Cubs? What's the first thing you think of?
Wrigley Field.
Well, no, the
Harry.
And of course, you probably never in your life.
They had the W flag you see flying everywhere when they win.
No, but now you were talking about Wrigley Field with that.
The ivy on the.
You probably had You probably don't know the difference in the different chewing gums.
Wrigley.
No, tell me the different
Spearmint.
flavors. Spearmint. What else?
The
Juicy fruit. You boys right here don't even remember that.
I've never associated
I'll tell you where I'm coming from. Is the hedge in the outfield.
The ivy on the head.
The ivy on the outfield fence.
Beautiful.
You know what happens when the ball gets caught up in the ivy? And it happens quite a bit.
Ground rule double.
Ground rule double. And a lot of times it's in an area where somebody might could get a triple, but they got hung up in the ivy. That's the only stadium that I know in pro ball that the ivy are something about the.
Yeah. I saw Brian Meadows pitch one of his best games in that field, in that stadium against the Cubs. You remember that, Michael? I think he went 8 or 9 innings, gave up 1 run or no runs. I think he got a big hit in that game too.
I think the best game I ever saw him pitch was against the Braves when he was pitching for Pittsburgh. He went 10 innings one day against the Braves.
I'll tell you, it wasn't a day game. It was a night game. I remember listening to it. Do you remember that? It was a night game. I want to say.
He also pitched a real good game against the Yankees when the Yankees came to play in Florida one time. I'm
going to throw some names out at you, some things out at you that see if any of these guys. I think he's already gone. I wish he'd come back because he's pretty good at this baseball stuff. But this guy plays second base for the Chicago White Sox. And the barrel the barrel was a big wide barrel at the bottom, and he choked up almost half the bat. You know what I'm talking about?
Not Sandberg.
No, before Sandberg.
You're saying he played for the White Sox?
Played for the White Sox.
Oh, the White Sox. Okay.
And he had a teammate that was one of the best that ever played the game. The shortstop was one of the best that ever played the game. Name the two.
I can't name many Chicago White Sox players.
All right. Well, one of them would be.
I mean, the only White Sox player I can ever think of is like Carlton Fisk or something.
Well, no, Fisk played with Red Sox, Michael.
He
hit the home run with he's the one who hit the home run with Boston.
Was it Shoeless Joe Jackson?
No, he won, but it was the Nelson Nelly Fox was the guy that choked up on his bat so far, played second base, and the shortstop was Luis Aparicio. Aparicio and Fox, a great double play combination back in the 60s, early 60s. And of course,
Chicago was the stadium that had the Death to Disco night. All these baseball teams have these wacky promotions. In the 70s, they had a death to disco, and everybody brought disco records that they burned on the field. And I think it got out of control.
This could be a lot of fun, even when I come back and I say Dale, you give me a last name for the Braves.
Murphy.
Bob.
But there was another
Horner.
There was another one, Dale Murphy. That was
Biff.
Pasquale.
Perez. Biff.
Hey, here's the guy with the
Hey,
biggest.
come on, y'all. Biff.
Who now?
Biff.
I can't remember Biff. Yeah,
Pocaroba.
Yeah, Biff Pocaroba. Here's the guy with the biggest smile in Atlanta.
I can name.
Here is the guy with the biggest smile in Atlanta. Rico Cardi. You ever heard of him?
I've heard of Gary Matthews, Jerry Royster.
In so many ways we can entertain you. I hope, especially you baseball fans, we'll get back to this, putting names together. But y'all are a little bit further along.
Phil Necro. I saw Phil Necro in the front porch one time in Troy.
Did you really?
He's come to visit.
Oh, that's right. His son
played baseball for Troy.
And another thing, just fun things, Drysdale and Koufax, who they play for?
Dodgers.
That's right. Who did, what addition
did you say where Dwight Gooden just got arrested again?
Oh, no, I hate that.
You said Drysdale. You said Koufax, and the pitcher that had a dominating year like Koufax was Dwight Gooden when he was very young, a rookie.
It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. We'll be back again today at 1:30 on the island. Appreciate all the folks calling in today.
We're going to bounce around on this show a little bit.
That's what's so much fun about it, bouncing around. We're going to talk sports like nobody else, and a little trivia. And what I'm going to try to start doing maybe is giving away a little something.
Let's do that, yeah.
And,
can I come up with some questions
too?
Yeah,
exactly. And you come up with some answers too. And of course, the Milwaukee Braves had probably when Atlanta finally got here, their uniform was a little bit different. Tell me what was different in their uniform.
They had pinstripes?
No, that was the Yankees, the pinstripe. They had their back pocket had lining and had a V-neck. The pockets of their back pockets were lined.
What year did the Braves move to Atlanta?
The 60s, sometime 68, 69.
I don't know.
We'll find out.
That probably sounds about right, though.
Come up with your trivia questions tomorrow. We'll try to find out.
Oh, yeah, I'd love this.
Hope you've enjoyed today's show. Brought to you by some great sponsors, and we appreciate them so very much. We'll see you tomorrow.